My ex called me sobbing after finding out her perfect husband had been cheating on her for years. I made a mistake, she said. I should have picked you. I stayed silent. Now her friends are flooding my DMs, calling me cruel for not taking her back. I just sent them a screenshot of the message she sent me the night she left. You'll never be good enough for someone like me. I, 32M, never thought I'd be the kind of person posting a revenge story on Reddit, but after what happened this week, I need to get this off my chest. This is a long one, so strap in. 7 years ago, I met Elise, 31F, at a friend's housewarming party. I wasn't planning on going that night. I had just finished a brutal 60-hour work week at my startup that was barely staying afloat, but my buddy Jake insisted I needed to be a human again for a few hours. So I showed up, exhausted, wearing the only clean button-down I owned, nursing a beer in the corner and counting the minutes until I could politely leave. That's when she walked in. Elise was stunning, tall, with dark curly hair, wearing a simple black dress that made her look like she'd stepped out of an old movie. But it wasn't just her looks. When she laughed, it was like the whole room got brighter. I'm not usually the poetic type, but there's no other way to describe it. Jake saw me staring and did what any good wingman would do, he introduced us. I expected her to make polite conversation for a minute and move on to someone more interesting. Instead, we talked until 3 a.m. She was brilliant, funny, passionate about her work as an architect, and for some reason, she seemed genuinely interested in my struggling tech startup. Most people would have given up by now, she said, her eyes locked on mine. But you actually believe in what you're building. That's rare. I fell hard and fast. By our third date, I knew I wanted to marry her someday. We moved in together after 8 months. For the next 2 years, we built what I thought was a solid foundation. She supported me through the darkest days of my startup, when I was living on ramen and caffeine, questioning every decision. I supported her through a brutal project that had her redrawing plans until her fingers cramped. We talked about everything, our childhoods, our dreams, our fears. At least, I thought we did. Looking back, there were red flags that I ignored because I was so in love. When we went out with her wealthy college friends, she'd sometimes make little comments about my clothes or my car that stung. She'd laugh them off as jokes, and I'd tell myself I was being too sensitive. Her parents never quite warmed to me. Her father was a successful surgeon who had put Elise through the best schools, and he made it clear he had expected her to end up with someone more established. During one holiday dinner, he asked about my company's revenue projections in front of everyone, then changed the subject when I tried to explain that we were focused on growth rather than profit at that stage. Elise never defended me during these moments. She'd just squeeze my hand under the table, as if to say, just get through this. Then came the turning point. My startup finally landed major venture capital funding. Suddenly, we went from scraping by to having actual money in the bank. The company that had been my passion project for 4 years was finally being recognized. I was ecstatic, and Elise seemed happy for me. With the first real money I'd made in years, I bought her a vintage Art Deco engagement ring. It wasn't the biggest diamond, but it was unique and beautiful, just like her. I planned a weekend trip to the small coastal town where we'd had our first weekend away. I made reservations at the same restaurant, arranged for the same corner table overlooking the water. I never got to propose. 2 nights before our trip, I came home to find Elise sitting at our kitchen table, an odd expression on her face. We need to talk, she said. She had reconnected with an old college classmate, James, at an architecture conference the month before. He was everything I wasn't, from a wealthy family, already a partner at a prestigious firm at 30, with the kind of confident charm that came from never having to wonder if you belong somewhere. It just happened, she said, not quite meeting my eyes. We've been talking, and I think I need to explore this connection. I asked if she had cheated. She swore nothing physical had happened yet, but the yet hit me like a punch to the gut. She said she was confused, that she cared deeply for me, but James represented a life she had always imagined for herself. I reminded her of everything we'd built together, the future we had planned. I even pulled out the ring, a last desperate move that I immediately regretted. She looked at it with an expression I couldn't read, somewhere between pity and disappointment. It's beautiful, she said softly. But I knew what was coming next. Some version of it's not you, it's me. But what she actually said was worse. I just think I need someone who's already established, who knows who they are in the world. I need more stability than you can offer. I pointed out that my company was finally taking off. That I had been working toward this for years. That we had weathered the hardest part together, and now things would be different. Maybe, she said, but James is already there. He's been there his whole life. He knows how to move in those circles, how to build the kind of life I want. She moved out the next day, while I was at work. She left her key on the counter with a note that said she thought it would be easier this way. As if anything about this could be easy. That night, drunk and devastated, I texted her, I thought what we had was real. I would have given you everything. Her response came an hour later, probably after drinks with her new boyfriend, you'll never be good enough for someone like me. I stared at those words until they blurred. Then I blocked her number, deleted her from all my social media, and threw myself into my work. For the next 5 years, I lived and breathed my company. The pain of losing Elise fueled me in a way I'm not proud of, but it worked. I had something to prove, to her parents, to myself. Every time I wanted to slack off or take the easy route, I remembered her words, "You'll never be good enough." And I pushed harder. The company grew faster than even our most optimistic projections. We expanded internationally. I was featured in business magazines. I bought a house in the hills with a view of the city. I dated casually but never let anyone get close. I heard through mutual friends that Elise had married James within a year of leaving me. They had the wedding at his family's estate, with 300 guests and features in design magazines. They bought a mansion in the most exclusive neighborhood in the city. She opened her own architecture firm with his financial backing. From the outside, her life looked perfect. I didn't follow her on social media, but occasionally her face would appear on my feed when friends of friends commented on her posts. She was still beautiful, now with the polished sheen of serious money. In every photo, she was smiling that perfect smile, standing next to her perfect husband in front of their perfect house. I told myself I was glad for her, that we had both ended up where we were supposed to be. Most days, I almost believed it. Then came the acquisition. A major tech company bought us out for a sum that still doesn't feel real when I see it in my bank account. Suddenly, I was the kind of wealthy that meant I never had to work again if I didn't want to. The news made the business pages. There were interviews, a feature in Forbes. And apparently, Elise noticed. 3 weeks ago, her name appeared on my phone for the first time in 5 years. I nearly dropped the phone in shock. "Congratulations," the message read. "I always knew you'd do well." I stared at it for a long time before responding with a simple, "Thank you." I didn't want to engage, but ignoring her felt petty somehow. She replied immediately, "Would love to catch up sometime." "Coffee?" Against my better judgment, I agreed. I told myself it was closure, that seeing her would prove I was completely over what happened. We met at a quiet cafe downtown. She looked exactly the same, yet somehow different, still beautiful, but with a tightness around her eyes that hadn't been there before. She congratulated me again on the acquisition, asked intelligent questions about the technology, told me she'd been following the company's growth. "I'm proud of you," she said, reaching across the table to touch my hand. I pulled back instinctively. "Thanks. How are things with you? And James?" Something flickered across her face. "Good. Busy. He's traveling a lot for work these days." We kept the conversation light. She told me about her architecture firm, showed me photos of a museum she was designing. I told her about my plans to start a new, smaller company focused on sustainable technology. After an hour, we said goodbye with an awkward hug. I walked away thinking that was the end of it, a brief, civilized interaction between two adults with history. Closure achieved. I was wrong. Last Friday night, around midnight, my phone rang. It was Elise, and she was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. "Can I come over?" she managed to say. "Please. I don't know who else to talk to." I should have said no. But despite everything, hearing her in pain twisted something in my chest. "Are you okay? Are you safe?" "Yes," she choked out. "I just really need to see you." I gave her my address. While waiting, I paced around my living room, regretting my decision with every step. What was I doing, inviting my ex who had shattered my heart into my home in the middle of the night? She arrived looking like a wreck, mascara streaking down her face, hair disheveled, wearing what looked like pajama pants under her coat. I'd never seen composed, perfect Elise like this. "He's been cheating on me," she said as soon as I opened the door. "For years. With multiple women." I led her to the couch and handed her a glass of water. The story came out in pieces, between sobs. She had suspected something was wrong for months, James working late, mysterious weekend conferences, growing distant. That afternoon, she had received an anonymous email with dozens of screenshots, text messages, hotel receipts, photos of James with other women dating back almost to the beginning of their marriage. "I confronted him when he got home," she said, wiping her eyes. "He didn't even deny it. He said he never expected to be faithful, that marriage was about partnership and image, not monogamy. Like I should have known that was the arrangement." I didn't know what to say. Part of me felt vindicated, her perfect life wasn't so perfect after all. Another part genuinely hurt for her. No one deserves that kind of betrayal. "Why come to me?" I finally asked. She looked up, her eyes red and swollen. "Because you were real. What we had was real. I made the biggest mistake of my life walking away from that." And then she said it, "I should have picked you." I stayed silent. She moved closer on the couch. "I mean it. I've thought about you over the years, wondered what would have happened if I'd stayed. Seeing you again at the cafe. I realized I still have feelings for you." "Elise," I said carefully, "you're upset and in shock. This isn't the time to make any declarations." "No," she insisted, suddenly grabbing my hands. "I know what I'm saying. James and I are done. I'm filing for divorce as soon as possible. And I want another chance with you." I gently extracted my hands from hers. "I think you should go home. Or to a friend's place. Give yourself time to process what's happened before making any decisions." "You don't understand," she said, desperation creeping into her voice. "I've been living a lie for 5 years. A beautiful, empty lie. I want something real again. I want you." I stood up. "I'll call you a car." "Wait," she said, reaching for her phone. She pulled up a text message and handed it to me. "Look what he wrote after I left." It was from James. You knew who I was when you married me. Don't act shocked now. You wanted the lifestyle. There was always a price for that. See? She said. He thinks I'm just like him, that I only cared about the money and the status. But I'm not. I made a terrible mistake. I handed back her phone. I'm sorry he hurt you. Truly. But that doesn't change what happened between us. What can I do? She asked, her voice small. To show you I've changed, that I mean it? I looked at her, this woman who had once been my entire world, who had left me for someone she thought was better, who had explicitly told me I wasn't good enough, and felt nothing but a dull ache of an old wound. Nothing, I said quietly. Some things can't be undone. She left in tears. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, the text started. First from Elise, long paragraphs about how sorry she was, how she'd spend the rest of her life making it up to me if I'd just give her another chance. When I didn't respond, she switched tactics, reminding me of good times we'd shared, inside jokes, places we'd talked about visiting together. I almost weakened, almost called her. Then my phone pinged with a message from an unknown number. This is Michelle, Elise's friend. I can't believe how cruel you're being. She made one mistake years ago and now when she's at her lowest point, you won't even talk to her? What kind of man does that? She loves you. Before I could process this, another message came in from a different number. Hey asshole, it's Jen. Elise is crying on my couch right now because of you. She's going through hell and all she needs is for you to hear her out. But I guess you're enjoying watching her suffer? Throughout the day, more and more of her friends, people I had met maybe once or twice 5 years ago, found my number and messaged me. Some were pleading, some accusatory, all convinced I was being unreasonable for not immediately taking back a woman who had discarded me for a wealthier model the moment he appeared. Finally, Elise's oldest friend, Sophia, called me directly. Unlike the others, she had always been kind to me when Elise and I were together. I know this is weird, she said when I answered. And I probably shouldn't be calling you. But Elise is in bad shape, and she's convinced you're the answer to everything. I'm sorry she's hurting, I said. But I can't be her rebound from a failed marriage. I get that, Sophia said, surprising me. And honestly, I told her she needs to give you space. But she's not in a rational place right now. She feels like she's finally seeing clearly for the first time in years, and she's desperate to undo her mistakes. Some mistakes can't be undone, I repeated what I'd told Elise. There was a pause. She showed us the text from your coffee meetup, Sophia said carefully. And maybe I'm way off base here, but it seemed like there might still be something there, on your side. Is that completely wrong? I sighed. Sophia, Elise and I have history. Complex history. Seeing her again was confusing. But that doesn't mean I'm ready to jump back into a relationship with her, especially not now. Fair enough, she said. I'll try to talk some sense into her, get her to back off. For what it's worth, I'm sorry about how everything went down back then. You deserved better. After we hung up, I sat staring at my phone, at the dozens of messages from Elise and her friends. Then, on impulse, I scrolled way back in my message history, 3 years of conversations with clients and friends and brief relationships that didn't last. All the way back to that night 5 years ago. There it was. The last message Elise had ever sent me before she reappeared in my life: you'll never be good enough for someone like me. I took a screenshot. Then I sent it, without comment, as a reply to every single one of her friends who had contacted me. My phone went silent. For about an hour. Then Sophia called again. I didn't know, she said quietly. None of us did. She told us you two just grew apart, that you were too focused on your work. Now you know, I said. Yeah, she sighed. Now we know. It's been a week since then. Elise sent one final message: I was cruel and stupid and wrong. I've regretted those words every day. Please, can we just talk? I haven't responded. Maybe that makes me cold. Maybe I should be the bigger person and offer forgiveness. But here's the thing, I spent years rebuilding myself after she convinced me I wasn't enough. I'm not interested in giving her the power to tear me down again. Yesterday, I donated to a small tech education nonprofit in an underserved area of the city, the kind of place where kids with big dreams and no connections might get their first shot at building something. I've arranged to mentor some of their students, to help them navigate the world I had to figure out on my own. I keep thinking about one of those kids someday getting a message like the one Elise sent me. You'll never be good enough. I want them to know that's a lie. That good enough isn't determined by someone else's measuring stick. That the people who truly belong in your life are the ones who see your value even when you're still becoming. So no, I won't be taking Elise back. And I won't be responding to any more messages from her friends telling me I'm cruel for holding on to the past. Some words, once said, can't be unsaid. Some bridges, once burned, should stay ash. Update: wow, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the supportive comments. To answer some common questions. 1. No, I don't think Elise orchestrated the anonymous email reveal as some of you suggested. Her pain seemed too raw, and from what Sophia later told me, James's cheating was an open secret among some of their social circle. Someone finally took pity on her. 2. Yes, I've heard James is trying to salvage their marriage with promises of therapy and change. Apparently losing half his assets in a divorce isn't appealing. Not my circus, not my monkeys. 3. For those asking if I've truly moved on since I still remembered her exact words after 5 years, fair question. Those words cut deep because they tapped into my biggest insecurity at the time. They became a sort of dark motivation. So yes, I remembered them, but no, I haven't been pining for her all this time. 4. I'm doing well. The new venture is taking shape, I've reconnected with old friends I neglected during my workaholic phase, and I'm even dating someone new, someone who knew me before I had any success and liked me anyway. Life has a way of coming full circle sometimes. 5 years ago, I would have given anything to hear Elise say she made a mistake. Now that she finally has, it doesn't matter anymore. And that might be the best revenge of all. Dr. X left me for a richer guy, told me I'd never be good enough for her. I built a successful company, she came crawling back after discovering her perfect husband was a serial cheater. Her friends called me cruel for not taking her back until I showed them what she really thought of me.